fine. I respect Hov. He said that. Then I'm seeing the articles, right, that Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Square, or founder, I don't know, I think there's somebody else there, but founder or co-founder of Square has invested all of this money into Bitcoin. And then you start thinking of all the people that told you years ago Bitcoin would be something.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking about financial literacy and my fight and our fight with Spotify and how we just keep saying, yo, we need a seat at a table. Mm-hmm. We understand the value of things, and we want to participate in ways that are outside the box of salary, talent hires, and all this other shit.
Right.
So when you go to the table and you start asking for stock and they look at you like you're crazy because you're a black dude, what's the alternative?
Start your own currency.
Mm. So I don't have to know anything about Bitcoin. But when I saw Jack Dorsey invested in all of this money, 5% of his whatever, into Bitcoin, I said, okay, now that's a few geniuses that are telling me this. Mm. So behind you guys' back, I picked up the phone and I made a phone call and I said, hey.
You called Jack?
Anonymous person. What's going on? We need in. We need to participate.
What you do with Savon's raise?
If Bitcoin is going on crazy, Rory, I'm such the man that whatever I'm about to say affects no one's pay at all.
I'm joking. Relax. Go ahead.
But let's celebrate. Now pick me up. Give me come on. Yeah. Yes. Hold up. Turn my drop up, bitch. Hold up. It's me. The Podfather's here, goddammit.
No, Joe Budden.
So I called someone and begged.
Rest in peace, Combat.
You know the vibes. Rest in peace, Combat Jack. So I called someone and said, yo, is it possible that I can take a small percentage of a deal in Bitcoin? And someone said, yes. Round of applause, right? So I'm here to say that I have Bitcoin for everyone. I did it. They said yes. And I don't know what it means, but I'll take a pound.
Yeah.
And now we have a start in the game.
Oh, pound is a currency. Yo,
get
in the booth.
I have 5,000 something. Is it Bitcoin, Saratoshi? I don't know what you call this. See, Satoshi. Who knows what you call this? More.
I love that restaurant.
5,000 Satoshi to you. 5,000 Satoshi to you.
What does that mean?
5,000 Satoshi to you, Rory. 3,333 Satoshi to you, Erickson.
I love it.
Huh? Of course you will. I know what it means. 3,333 Satoshi to you, Savon. Yeah, man.
What does that mean?
And Alex, 3,333 Satoshis to you. Good man. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for y'all contributions here. Y'all know we couldn't have got this far without what all of us do.
No doubt.
And I don't know what this means.
So you just
either way, I like the intention.
He just thought he got some shit off. 5,000 nigga. What the fuck do that mean? Fuck is you?
No, you owe 5,000.
Nigga, I'm joking.
Who the fuck is Satoshi?
You get a Satoshi. You get a Satoshi. Everybody, look how ignorant we are. What the fuck is that, nigga? The fuck Satoshi, nigga?
Who the fuck is Satoshi?
Wait. Let me do. Wait.
Tell me 5,000 Satoshi. I never met this nigga.
Yo, Rory is Googling Satoshi right now. Come on.
What does that mean to fuck is Satoshi? I don't know this nigga.
But I love that restaurant.
No,
Yo,
Joe
Mo,
Budden.
I wish I could tell you more. I don't know what a Satoshi is.
So you just know I got 5,000?
I know that you got a bunch, and we all got a bunch, and it's a good start. So now I welcome you all to join the headache and anxiety attack that watching the stock market is.
Woo! Couldn't wait. No, it's something I've been meaning to do for a long time.
And outside of that, because we don't know what it means, and I want to shout out to Cash App. Thanks.
No doubt.
Smoke that. Smoke that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Listen, I'm on ISO
Look,
right now. This is
nigga ain't stop
They over
smelling.
there negotiating their
Nigga ain't stop
Satoshis
smelling.
already.
Nigga ain't stop smelling, huh? Well, Alex understands it. Yeah, we do not.
I just want to know, does Satoshi give accounting?
Well, let him come over here and tell us what the fuck. What's that, man? Erickson understands
we
it.
actually have a professional.
Yeah, Alex Erickson, y'all relax. Y'all sit down until Silver gets
he
here.
knowing what he's talking about with this shit.
No, it's true. So we do have a special guest to help explain what some of this shit is to us.
Yeah.
So I want to get there. This gentleman's name is Anthony Pompliano, better known to the world as Pomp. And this is the gentleman that all of my rich friends told me to call when I wanted to learn about Bitcoin after I had a little bit of Bitcoin. So I'm excited about this, and I can't wait for... fuck it, let's just talk to the guy. Come on, bring him up.
You guys ready to do this?
I'm fucking ready to rock and roll, Pomp. I'm super excited. I'm honored to have you here. All right, Parks has hit record. So listen, we have a very, 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 very special guest here today. As you guys know, last week I attempted to talk to you about stocks and I sounded like a complete idiot. But I want to responsibly use my platform and introduce Anthony Pompliano, better known as Pomp. Listen, Pomp, I'm trying to do this new thing where we change for the new year. And I'm trying to invite people. I'm trying to invite people that are more educated than us in certain areas.
which is actually a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. So we want to welcome you here to the Joe Budden Podcast. Thank you for joining us. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I don't know if I'm more educated, but I got some opinions, so we could go through those. But I think you guys are doing just fine yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I respect that.
So listen to this. Bitcoin. It's going crazy out here. And all of my friends are coming to me and telling me about how crazy it's going, just like they were a whole bunch of years ago when I ignored them because it wasn't tangible money. I told them, if I can't go in the gas station and buy my cigarettes, then why are you wasting my time telling me about this? Tell me how stupid I was.
and what Bitcoin is.
What do you say?
And what Bitcoin is.
All right. So first of all, Joe, you were pretty stupid for not listening, but we'll get to that in a second.
Thanks.
Let's back up a little bit. And to understand Bitcoin, we got to understand the traditional financial system, right? And so what a lot of people can wrap their heads around is there's a complete separation. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But what people don't realize is the system is built to do that, right? Like that is how the system is built. It is not a bug in the system. It is a feature of the system. And what that basically means is it's not so much a wealth disparity, it's an education disparity. And so what rich people know that poor people don't know is that the dollar gets devalued. And all that means is if I give you dollars and you sit them in your bank account and you put $100 in the bank account, you come back in 5 years, that $100 buys you less goods and services than it did when you first put it in there. So literally, although it says I put $100 in and $100 is still sitting there, the $100 buys less because the price of cars and houses and food and all this other shit went up in value. So literally now it takes me more dollars to buy the same stuff than it did 5 years ago. So what rich people do is they know this. They're like, shit, I'm not going to just hold on to this dollar that keeps losing value over time. I'm going to invest it or I'm going to buy things with it. So what they do is they go and they say, rather than hold dollars, I'm going to buy real estate. I'm going to buy stocks. I'm going to buy gold. I'm going to buy Bitcoin. I'm going to buy all these investable assets. And so when you look at the numbers, the bottom 45% of Americans don't own a single investable asset. They own no investments. They just have cash and they live paycheck to paycheck. So what happens is when the government right now during the pandemic, all this stuff, they're like, hey, we're going to come save you. I'm going to give you guys a stimulus check. I'm going to print all this money. I'm going to do all this. What they're actually doing is they're devaluing the dollar. So they'll give you $2,000 right now, but they're actually making those dollars worth less and less over time. So all Bitcoin does is said, you don't got to be a genius. You can take your dollars, convert them to Bitcoin, and over a long period of time, the Bitcoin's going to go up in US dollar value. That's it. Like that is literally it. It's a different currency that doesn't get devalued away.
But Pomp, well, first of all, I feel like a jackass because my hit song was Pump It Up, and your name is Pomp, and I haven't done Pomp, 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 Pomp It Up.
Savon,
I didn't do that.
I'm
just saying.
Pomp,
I didn't do that.
Let's put an edit.
Sorry, you had to sit
It's
through
fine.
that.
Pomp, but
Listen. You saw? Do you see everybody on Twitter? They said you misspelled my name when you made the song.
I love it. And that's why I love Twitter. But Pomp, the bank told me that my money would collect interest when it's in there, and that's why I should put it there.
Yeah. So your money does collect interest, but if you look at what the bank does, right, when you put your dollars into the banks, let's say I don't want to use the name of any banks, but you put your money into the bank, they say, cool, it's our money now. I'll give you an IOU. So you put $100 and they say, I owe you $100. They take your $100 and they go and they lend it out on the back end. They're lending it to people and they're earning money on that loan. So let's say that they maybe earn 200 basis points or 2% on your $100. They then turn around and say, cool, we'll give you a little tiny bit of that. So we make $2, but we'll pay you 3 cents or 5 cents of the money that we earned. So the bank makes all the money and they pay you only 3 to 5 basis points.
Oh, like Spotify.
And so even though they're paying.
Go ahead.
So just like I'm not getting involved in all that.
Please don't. That's my bad.
I love Spotify. Please turn my volume up on Spotify. I love Spotify. I love iTunes too. Now listen, when you look at what the actual bank is doing is they're paying you a little bit of interest, but they're not paying you enough interest to beat inflation. So inflation is like 2%. So if the bank doesn't pay you at least 2%, even though you're earning a little bit of interest, you're still losing purchasing power. So the whole idea here is, one, you've got a position to just tell people like, hey, if you put 100% of your wealth, all of the money you have in dollars and set it in your bank account, the financial system is fucking you. Like you are getting fucked by the banks, you're getting fucked by the central bank, and you are literally becoming poorer over time by saving. Savers get screwed and investors win. Like that is the most core thing to personal finance is you have to invest money in order to protect your wealth because the dollar's getting devalued over time.
Okay, so what is Bitcoin's incentive for us to invest in them? Of course, I know what the banks are doing with our money, but what is Bitcoin doing with it?
All right. So the reason why all that happens with the dollar is because they keep creating more of the dollar. They're devaluing it by creating more and more dollars. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is a digital currency. So it's just like the dollar is a currency. This is a digital currency, but it is decentralized, meaning nobody owns it. Nobody controls it. There's no individual. There's no organization. There's no government. Nobody controls it. And when nobody controls it, the only way to make a change to it is if more than 51% of people agree to make the change. So remember, the legacy system, last year, we thought we all knew the rules. But then all of a sudden, the central bankers and the elected officials like, nah, we're going to change the rules. We don't care what you guys think. We're going to change the rules because we think we know what's best for you. And so in that system, we get screwed as individual citizens. But in this new system, nobody can change the rules. The rules are written publicly so everyone can see them and nobody can change them. And so when you have a decentralized digital currency, you can now save in that currency. And because they can't create more than 21 million Bitcoin, actually what happens is when demand increases and you have a fixed supply, it's like real estate. If there's a hot area in town and there's only so much real estate and it's hot, what happens? The prices go up. Same thing in Bitcoin is there's only 21 million. And so what people are doing is they're using Bitcoin as a savings technology. I just keep saving my wealth in Bitcoin. They're not creating more of it. So over time, it'll appreciate in price and it'll appreciate in purchasing power. So it's a 180-degree difference than what they're doing with the dollar.
So why isn't the inventor of Bitcoin the owner? Who made up Bitcoin and why don't they own it? Why did they freely give it away?
Yeah, so the whole idea of kind of the world that we live in today is we've lived in a world where we basically celebritized founders and we really, really love centralized institutions. So Facebook and Instagram and Google and Twitter and all these companies, all the value accrued to them and they had a leader at the top. So it's a kind of a hierarchical structure and those companies get all the power. Well, we're figuring out like maybe we shouldn't live in a world where one dude can make the decisions for literally hundreds of millions of people, right? One company shouldn't accrue all that value. So what Satoshi Nakamoto, which is a pseudonymous person or group, we don't know who it is, which is part of the beauty of it.
I don't know what pseudonymous means.
Basically means that they use a burner account, right? Is the best way to think about it. It's like a burner account for real life. They use a name, but nobody knows actually who's behind it.
Got it.
And so the reason why that's valuable is right now when the government's mad at Mark Zuckerberg, they're like, yo, Mark, you better come in front of Congress and testify. Or if you don't do that, we're going to sanction you. We're going to come after your company. We're going to regulate you. We're going to put you in jail. All this crazy shit. With this, they can't. They don't know who it is. So they can't call anybody in front of Congress. They can't arrest anybody. The other thing is, if the government got mad at Amazon or Facebook or whatever, they'd be like, hey, we're going to come to your headquarters and we're going to say, if you don't shut down your company, you're in trouble. They can't do that with Bitcoin because it's decentralized. So when the person that or a group that created it put it out into the world, they put a financial incentive. They said, hey, if you start running this software and more people do it across the world, they're not going to come to every single person's house and be like, yo, Joe, you got to shut down your computer. You can't have this Bitcoin software running anymore.
Why not?
There's just too many people.
Wait, no. Let me offer some pushback, Pomp. Sorry, buddy. This is where I didn't invest. So you're telling me that the inventor of Bitcoin is a fucking myth?
Yeah.
He's an urban legend. We've never seen him. Nobody's met him. Can't you see how that could offer some reservation to people when you're talking about such a grandiose idea?
So let me explain this, right? When you think of that, you're thinking of who the inventor is. The inventor said, it doesn't matter who I am. I'm going to post all the instructions and the rules to this system. I'm going to post it online so every single person can read through it. They can verify what's here. And I will let you, including Joe Budden and everybody else, you all have a say in what happens to this system. So you now own part of the system, but we all have to agree to change anything in the system.
But how
so
does
the inventor just says,
go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how do we know that he won't? How do we know he won't change his mind?
Yeah, or the system could conveniently crash.
He can't, because here's the beauty. It's being super non-egotistical, right? Why do the founders of these companies still retain control? It's because they think that they understand it better. And in many cases, they do understand the system better than most people. They want control. When it comes to Satoshi Nakamoto, they said, look, I'm no different than all of you. I'm just one person out of billions in the world. We're all going to do this together. And then the way that the code's written is they can't come in and make any changes without everybody agreeing. So in a decentralized world, basically what they do is they give up control in the beginning intentionally to ensure that there's security and defensibility in the system.
Okay.
So now this thing's $700 billion. Like there's literally 100+ million people using this thing and nobody knows who created it.
I want to shout out to Volvo, and I'd like to read you something that I read recently.
All right.
This gentleman's name is Niels Bohlin. And it says Niels Bohlin, an engineer at Volvo, invented the 3-point seatbelt in 1959. The 1950s were a time when pilots and racing drivers wore harnesses, but seatbelts, where they were fitted in cars, took the form of a rudimentary 2-point waist restraint. In crashes, sometimes these did more harm than good. The reason the 3-point seatbelt is so widely adopted is actually because Volvo opened up the patent so that any car manufacturer could use it in their design. They decided that the invention was so significant that it had more value as a free life-saving tool than something to profit from. Is that similar to what's going on here?
You're a poet and you don't even know it. Yes, absolutely. Right? Like if you think about what ends up happening around innovation is if you give it to the world and everyone works on it together, it will drastically accelerate the pace of innovation. And so that's what's happening here is where that seatbelt ended up being a life-saving technology in terms of literally preserving people's lives. Bitcoin is a financial life-saving technology. It is preserving your financial health by protecting your purchasing power so that central banks cannot devalue it away. It is literally going to change people's lives because it prevents the rich from getting richer and the poor from getting poorer.
Now, Pomp, I'm a cynic and a skeptic. So when I'm listening to you, I hear the potential for totally derailing the banking infrastructure as we know it, which I'm in total support of, by the way. But as a cynic, I can't see how the government would allow that. I don't see it. Or what is stopping them from passing some type of legislation that bans all of crypto if they're not participating in a way, like they did with fucking weed, like we've seen them do time and time again? No, am I off here?
Yeah.
You're right. But here's what I would say.
I'm going to invest all my money in this shit, and then one day the government come up and say, you know what? Nah, it's dead. And then I'm fucked?
Nah, because you got to remember, one, Wall Street is benefiting from this. Fidelity, Guggenheim, Paul Tudor Jones, all these traders, all these banks, they're all getting in the game. They ain't going to let everyone get rich and they're going to sit by and watch it happen, right? They're definitely going to get in the game. They're doing that now. And that's why the price has been running so much. But the second thing is that there's this global kind of game theory playing out, which means that the United States comes out and says, you know what? Nah, screw this. We're not going to let you guys do this. We're going to ban it. Right? They could do that. They could try. One, they can't shut the network down because it's decentralized. So they can't actually stop it. What they could say, though, is if you hold Bitcoin, I'm going to throw you in jail. But what that'll do is Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, all these other countries around the world, they're going to be like, cool, the U.S. doesn't want to use this system. Let's all get together and we're going to use this system and we're going to get off the U.S. dollar. We're not going to use the dollar anymore. And so that risk to the United States is way greater than people starting to adopt Bitcoin, right? And so now what we've got is we literally have politicians in Congress and the Senate who are running around saying we should be embracing this. We shouldn't be fighting it. Like, this is a technology innovation. And if America wants to remain the number one innovation country in the world, we got to embrace this stuff, because if we fight it, we're just going to lose and some other country's going to win, because they embraced it. So I think that's where the U.S. kind of gets caught, where they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't.
Here's something that I read recently about Square. And Jack Dorsey is a good friend of mine. That's a lie, but I really look up to him.
I was like, well, I didn't know that about you.
You left that out of our friendship.
He's a real inspiration to me, and I really admire how he moves out here. So he's one of the gentlemen that I look to for just phenomenal behavior, right?
If you tweeted with him, then you can say that you're best friends. Like, he don't even have to respond to the tweet. If you just tweet at him, then you're basically best friends.
I don't know if I've ever tweeted at Jack. I'm going to tweet him tonight. I'm going to tweet Jack tonight. Jack, we love you over here, buddy. But listen to this. So I read Square buys $50 million in Bitcoin as part of a larger investment in cryptocurrency. I believe Jack Dorsey to be a genius. What the fuck is he up to? Honestly, tell me.
So if you go back,
do you know?
All right, so first of all, Jack. Yeah, listen, Jack is a genius. Here's what you got to know about Jack Dorsey, right? Everyone is looking at him saying he runs Twitter and he runs Square. This man is one of the greatest entrepreneurs that we have in our lifetime. He's built 2 multi-billion-dollar companies.
Big facts.
And the best part,
big facts.
Guess what's in his Twitter bio? There's one word in his Twitter bio. Bitcoin.
God. Oh.
That's it. Nah.
Bitcoin.
No, Bitcoin. That's it. And the reason is because he understands how powerful this technology is, right? Bitcoin is probably going to become the global reserve currency in the future. Every country, everyone's going to use it. So what he did with Square was he said, look, individuals were choosing to take part of their wealth, right, part of the money in the bank, and say, I got some cash in US dollars. I'm going to put some of it in Bitcoin to protect myself in case something bad happens to dollars. And so once individuals started to do that, then Wall Street firms started to do it. So now you see, Fidelity and JP Morgan, all these guys all started to play the game. Now we're starting to see companies do it. So there's this company called MicroStrategy. This guy, Michael Saylor, is an absolute gangster. He literally took 85% of his balance sheet, which he had $500 million in cash. And he said, screw it. And he put it all in Bitcoin.
Yes, sir.
Then he raised $600 million in debt. And he put all that in Bitcoin too. So he put over $1 billion in Bitcoin and just sat it on his balance sheet. And then Jack came out with Square and he said, cool, we're going to start with 1%. We're going to put about $50 million in Bitcoin. We're going to sit it on our balance sheet and use it as a reserve asset. The reason why they're doing that is because the monetary policy, all that means is the central bankers are doing all kinds of funny business, trying to screw up the dollar. And so these guys want to protect themselves. Eventually, everyone's going to do it. Elon Musk's going to do it with Tesla, all the way down the line, every company.
Well, that was a few of my next questions. You're killing this shit right now, Pomp, by the way. Pomp. All right, listen. But does Jack doing that ensure that the Bitcoin never goes below a certain point?
No, he doesn't. But remember, if you ever take like an economics 101 course, just supply and demand,
I didn't.
right?
I dropped out in 10th grade. I dropped out in 10th grade. All right, well,
listen, ready? Here's the best part. Supply and demand applies to every market, whether you're talking about illegal drugs, music, real estate, or Bitcoin. Literally, supply and demand applies to every market. And so when you think about it, is when you have fixed supply, right, whether it's real estate or weed, if there's a fixed supply of something and demand continues to increase, if you're a capitalist, what do? You raise prices, right? Like, that's it. If there's only so much weed for a neighborhood and there's a lot more people that want it today than yesterday, you raise prices. If there's a school and they've got a line out the door for people to go to their college and they know that line's not going to go away, they raise prices, right? They only got so many seats. Same thing with Bitcoin is that there's a fixed supply. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. And now more and more people are showing up saying, I want this Bitcoin. But because it protects your purchasing power, the Bitcoiners don't want to sell. I'll never sell my Bitcoin. I don't want to sell. I don't care what the US dollar price is. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. And so when Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, whoever shows up and says, give me your Bitcoin, and they say, I'll get you $20,000, $25,000 for it, $30,000, $40,000. I don't care. I'm not selling it, but somebody will. And so they're just going to keep bidding higher and higher and higher and higher over time. And the US dollar price is going to go up. But if you look at the people who are holding it, they believe that this is a scarce asset. And so they're going to hold it forever.
What about other cryptos? I know Bitcoin is the big name, but what's stopping other people from making their own crypto? Because I saw that happen a couple of years ago with the first Bitcoin craze. What happens?
Yeah.
How does that work?
But how does Bitcoin compare to all of the other cryptos?
So just think of it as they're all vying for different things, right? So if you think in the traditional financial system, you basically have, you got stocks, you got bonds, you got currencies, you got commodities. There's 4 types of assets. Bitcoin is the winner for a cryptocurrency. It's trying to be a store of value and a medium of exchange. And a currency really is just a belief system. It's a religion, right? Why do we all trust the dollar? If I give you this green piece of paper, why do you take it?
I don't.
You and I both believe it has value. There ain't shit back in it other than a bunch of guys with guns that have a U.S. flag on their arm. That's it. But we all believe that it has value, and therefore we'll trade it back and forth. Bitcoin is now becoming the same thing. We believe it has value, therefore people are willing to exchange it for goods and services. There's other types of crypto assets, but they're not trying to be a currency. They may try to a commodity, a stock, like, other stuff. But Bitcoin is the king when it comes to the cryptocurrency bucket. And I don't think anyone's going to unseat it because it's a network effect, right? Once everyone starts using it, you're not just going to all leave to go use a different one because then there's nobody using the new one. Like you're incentivized to stay on the existing one. And so now it's reached that kind of escape velocity. Like it's going to be the king for a very, very long time.
We've seen in sports, we've seen a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers take some of his contract in Bitcoin. I want to say that was Spencer Dinwiddie in the NBA that did the same. I think we spoke about that here. Let's pretend that I took a portion of one of my deals in Bitcoin. How conservative or non-conservative should I be in that regard? And how stupid would I be to do that? And what are some of the advantages that come along? Why are people starting to do that?
So let me ask you 3 questions and so I can answer it well. How old are you?
40.
All right. How many streams of income you think you got?
More than 10.
All right. And what would you say your risk tolerance is right now? Super risk taker or not very risk taking at all?
I love a risk.
You should take 100%. You should take 100% of your deal in Bitcoin and hold it. Don't sell it, and you will be an absolute gangster 10 years from now.
So what can you currently buy in Bitcoin?
Wait. This nigga said take 100% of the deal in Bitcoin. Oh, you believe.
You want to know how much my net worth is?
Oh, I'm sorry. But you also got money. Don't do that.
You want to know how much of my net worth I put in Bitcoin?
Yes.
100?
Yes.
Over 95%.
Well.
But what can you currently
that's how much I believe.
What can you currently purchase with Bitcoin? Or you can't use it now.
Think of it this way, right? Is you don't want to purchase things with Bitcoin in the sense of it protects your purchasing power, right? Why do people buy real estate? You ever hear your parents or somebody right? Some rich person is like, real estate always goes up. Right. It's a fixed supply. And as long as more and more people want real estate, the price is going to go up. Bitcoin is no different. It's a fixed supply. And so if the price is going to continue to go up over time, you don't want to spend it today, right? You guys probably heard the story. There's this guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas back in like 2010. And now it's like could buy like 7 jets. Like, hey, you probably shouldn't have spent the Bitcoin, right? So it's the same thing here is the Bitcoin that you buy right? I say that you should take 100% of the deal, right? Because you've got multiple streams of income. So you're going to get paid in cash and other deals, and you've got a high risk tolerance. That's not for everybody. Other people, maybe they should put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of their net worth into Bitcoin. And you don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. A full Bitcoin's $38,000 right now. You can literally buy $5 of Bitcoin or $10 of Bitcoin. So you go on something like Cash App or one of these platforms.
Where you only need $1 to get in the game. $1. That was a big misconception for me a long time ago. I thought you needed a little more money to get in this game. You can start this with $1 on Cash App.
Yeah, you could literally say, yo, every 2 weeks I get my paycheck, I'm going to take $20. I'm going to put it in Bitcoin. And I'm just going to, every time I get my paycheck, I'm going to put $20. I'm a dollar cost average. I don't care what the price is. Every 2 weeks, I'm putting $20 in, and I'm just going to accumulate Bitcoin over time. Think of it like a savings account, because the difference here is rather than saving in dollars and having it lose money in the bank, you're saving in an asset that is protected from being devalued away. And so literally you can be a saver again, and you can actually build wealth, right? Think of people in India and a lot of these other cultures. What do? They save their family wealth in gold and in jewelry. Yes. In America, the richest families, they put it in real estate, and then they hand that shit down from generation to generation. You can't do that with dollars. If I put money in the bank today and I give it to my kid in 30 years, he's literally going to be broke. And it don't matter how much money I put in the bank, because it's going to lose 90% of its purchasing power. With Bitcoin, you can literally just save in Bitcoin, hold it. You can hand it to your kids, and it's going to be worth more than it is today because it protects your purchasing power and it's a fixed supply asset. So if you literally said, yo, I'm going to take 100% of my deal in Bitcoin, and everything else you don't buy Bitcoin with, it'll pop off, because you're going to literally hand it to your kids one day, and it's going to be worth more money than it is today.
I have a question for you, then Rory will follow right up. So speak to some of the rumors I'm hearing about how Bitcoin could go as high as 100,000 per coin this year. Some say 200,000. I won't reach for the stars, but like, is that feasible?
So back in 2019, I wrote a thing publicly, and I said it's going to hit $100,000 by 2021. I haven't changed that. I think it's absolutely going to hit that, may even go higher than that. And the whole reason is the government and the Federal Reserve, they're printing all this money, and they're forcing people to go find what's called an inflation hedge asset. They're saying if you hold dollars, you're going to lose. You got to go invest. So real estate, precious metals, and Bitcoin are all going up, stocks going up, et cetera.
Got it. At
the same time that they force everyone to go find Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that came into the market every day went from 1,800 last year to 900. So it was a 50% drop in the daily incoming supply of Bitcoin. At the same time, everyone wants Bitcoin. So the price exploded, went up 400%. And so that's only going to continue going into this year. I think $100,000 for sure it hits. The crazy part, though, is the gold market cap is only $10 trillion, right? $10 trillion for all the gold in the world. Bitcoin is a 10x improvement on gold. It is 10 times better from a technology standpoint. But if Bitcoin's market cap only 2x is gold, that's 20 trillion. That puts Bitcoin at about $1 million a coin. It's not going to be a straight line. We're not going from 40,000 to $1 million. There's going to be lots of volatility. It's going to go up a lot. It's going to drop 30, 40, 50%. But it's going to hit $1 million at some point in the future.
Got it. Roy?
So then why did it drop from 20,000 to 5,000 in recent?
And is that tied to election years?
It's not so much tied to like the political process. The way to think about this is it's a network. So let's say that we all created a mobile app together, right? And we had no users. And then we said, all right, we got to run a marketing campaign to get people to come use our app. And 100 people sign up in that marketing campaign. And they start using the product, and then 30 of them leave. They're like, man, this is whack. I don't want to use the mobile app anymore. We would have gained 70 new users. We'd have to run another marketing campaign, right? Another 100 people come in, 30 of them leave after some time. We gained another 70. So now we got 140 people. And so every time we run a marketing campaign, we get a bunch of users, some of them leave, but we still have a net higher basis of users. And so we keep doing this over and over again. That's how you build your user base. Same thing with Bitcoin is there was this big kind of bull market. A bunch of people come in. Then some people sell and they leave, but there's still a net gain every time this happens. And so when we went from 20,000 and it dropped down to 3,000, that was still higher than the previous high. So basically what you're seeing is you're just constantly getting this kind of network effect growth. And so if you go back, Bitcoin started out, it was pennies. and it's now at almost $40,000, and it's probably going to go up to 100 or more, and then it'll drop again. But when it drops, it's not going to drop back to $10,000 or $20,000. Maybe it drops to $50,000 or $60,000. Right. And then it goes and it runs up again. And that's how network effects grow. And so we've seen technology companies do this before. We've just never seen money do this where it's got a price, ticker tied to it on a daily basis. So that's where people see the volatility.
I'm sold. I'm done with him. I'm sold. I'm fine.
Are you going to take 100% of your deal in Bitcoin?
No. 100% no. But a large portion of not only now but future deals, and that's why I fuck with people, Pomp, that think outside of the box. And to really grasp this, I guess I have to really think outside of the box. There'll come a time where there'll be deals to be done where all 100% of the deal will go into it, and I won't look at it, and it'll just be up and down and out. That's a luxury that I will be able to afford. But even this is a privileged conversation between us. A lot of my people, well, not now, because you can invest $1 and get something done. But the mentality, Pomp, I'm saying is, we always feel like, damn, I'm rubbing two rocks together. I don't have time to even think about stock. I don't have money to put to stock. My family don't know about stock. Where can I learn? Where can I get the info? So I'm really appreciative that you stopped here, because last week, the world is changing. The world is changing. And, fam, you're either going to change with it or be left behind. So I want to know about this stuff. Thank you. I hate the banks, too. Fuck them. This was great.
You know what we say? We say long Bitcoin, short the bankers.
I like it.
Okay.
I like that. This guy, I can see why he's wealthy.
I have one quick question, Pomp. I have tax problems, so naturally I think about the IRS a lot. If I'm one of the stupid people that sell my Bitcoin and make a profit off of it, is that something the government can tax me on? Are you guys that protected, or is this still regulated tax-wise?
Great question, Rory. Great question.
Yeah. So basically everything that happens in the legacy financial system still applies to Bitcoin. So if you do illegal shit with Bitcoin, you're getting in trouble or going to jail.
Gotcha.
Like, don't do illegal shit with Bitcoin, right? 2 is, if you buy Bitcoin, it goes up and you sell it for a profit, you got to pay taxes on the profit. The other thing with Bitcoin is when you spend it, if you bought it and it was worth $1,000, and now when you go to spend it, it's worth $1,500, they actually consider that you're selling it, and they'll tax you on that $500 gain as well. So there's almost a penalty, a tax penalty when you spend your Bitcoin. So you shouldn't spend it. Just buy it and hold it for a long period of time and you'll be protected. But don't do illegal shit with it, and you still got to pay your taxes on it, and they can figure it out. So don't try to get around it or be smart, because you're just going to get yourself in trouble.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm clear, dude. Does anyone
very,
else
very
have?
informative.
Thank you so much.
Man.
I learned a lot.
Yo, Pomp,
Yeah,
I could talk to you for hours, man. You just seem like a bevy of information as it pertains to this stuff.
The only thing that matters is people just got to remember, if you're sitting with 100% of the money you got in cash, you're literally getting screwed. Get invested. It doesn't matter what you invest in, just get started. Whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. Just get invested and you'll have a better shot at actually protecting your wealth. So I appreciate you guys giving me the time. This is awesome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Let me hit the round of applause.
Yeah.
And Pop, blink twice if you're the founder.
Are you Sarah Hey, Pomp, thank you, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Hey, if we need to talk to you again, can we give you a ring?
Yeah, of course.
Hey! Thank you, Pomp. We appreciate it, man.
All right, sounds good, guys. Have a great day.
You too, Pomp. Hey! I'm going to buy some Bitcoin, goddammit. Pomp put the battery in my back.
Nah, me too.
It was destined.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Y'all know Parks only fixed the sound for Preem. I got mad albums fucked up.
Yeah.
That's not true.
You got to be the creator
Not the
of
ones I
Wu-Tang to get his attention.
Mad albums where the snare is low.
Nah.
Yo, that was phenomenal.
It was.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
That was-
very,
that
very
was great.
informative. Very informative.
I feel stupid, but now I feel enlightened.
Well, I understand
last
Bitcoin
week
more.
we felt we were really stupid.
Yeah.
And was that